series between the Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox on Fox. Good evening, everybody. Kenny Albert along with Eric Karros. Red Sox and Rangers have split the first two games of this series. Josh Hamilton back in Texas last night, Eric. His second home game, he hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, well, you go back to that saying, there's no place like home. And Josh Hamilton, he's back right where he left off. Probably not the route he wanted to take to return to Texas, but when he plays here at home, he just dominates. His first run through here, he hit over 315 in the home games, drove in close to 300 runs. And as you mentioned, 2 home runs last night. He's smiling, he's having fun, he's enjoying the game again. And when he does that, that spells a lot of problems for the opposition.
And we will hear from Josh Hamilton throughout the evening. He chatted earlier with our J.P. Morosi. Now, on the other side, Red Sox have had trouble scoring runs during the month of May. David Ortiz sat out the last 2 games, but he is back in the Boston lineup tonight.
Well, when you think of the Boston Red Sox offense, you think Big Poppy, David Ortiz. And he struggled as of late. This month of May has not been nice to him. So he has gone to the Ortiz Laboratory. 2 days off, trying to get a mental refresher, tinker with the swing a little bit, try and get right, and lead this ball club back. If he's right, this ball club can swing the bats.
Well, the Red Sox have lost 4 of their last 5. Rangers have won 8 of 10. It's baseball night in America. Red Sox, Rangers, coming up on Fox. Seven-degree evening in Arlington following his 2-homer game last night. His teammate, 23-year-old right-hander Chichi Gonzalez, gets set to make his major league debut. And he will face Dustin Pedroia leading off for the Red Sox here in the first, followed by Mookie Betts, David Ortiz will bat third, Hanley Ramirez in the cleanup spot, then Pablo Sandoval. Mike Napoli hits 6th. Bottom of the order, Brock Holt, Sandy Leon, and Rusney Castillo for the 22 and 27 Boston Red Sox, who won the opener on Thursday 5-1, and then the Rangers came back to take last night's game 7-4. First pitch from Gonzalez, a called strike, 0-1 on Dustin Pedroia, who's working on a 9-game hitting streak. He's 4 for 9 in this series.
Well, and he's going to face the youngster Chichi Gonzalez. Cutter, sinker, got about 4 or 5 pitches. Change, slider, just works around the plate. And what he does have, a ton of poise, will not get rattled.
0-2 on Pedroia, with Mookie Betts waiting on deck. His given name is Alex Gonzalez. He was nicknamed Chi-Chi by his great uncle. He has many friends and family members in attendance here in Arlington for his major league debut.
You know, again, as a youngster, you're just trying to get your feet wet, try and calm the nerves. Because I can tell you right now, the adrenaline, the butterflies, a mile a minute right now for Gonzalez.
Bounce to the third baseman, Beltre. Pedroia is retired.
Again, the young right-hander, you know, they're not expecting 8 innings. What they want him to do, keep the game close, go out and establish the strike zone. Nothing overpowering, but enough to miss the barrel of the bat. First-round pick a few years ago. You see the number 6 prospect in the Texas organization.
With 1 away, Gonzalez now facing Mookie Betts, who takes a called strike. 5-game hitting streak for Betts. Like Pedroia, 4 for 9 in the series. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 2-1 on Betts, who played in his 100th game as a major leaguer last night. 8 hits in his last 20 at bats. Now 3-1.
Yeah, just pulled that pitch right there. You go back to Gonzalez. What'll be interesting is when he has to face the middle of this Red Sox lineup. Very patient, especially when you get to Ortiz. You know, Ramirez, a bit of a free swinger, can do some damage. How he approaches those types of veteran hitters.
Here's pitching coach Mike Maddox. So Betts draws a 1-out walk as David Ortiz steps to the plate. Welcome to the big leagues, Chichi Gonzalez.
Yeah, well, you know, you talk about the poise, and that's one of the strengths that Gonzalez has. Well, we're going to find out how that poise manifests itself right now. You got David Ortiz, Big Papi, a future Hall of Famer. He's coming to the plate. You're getting a chance to throw to him. No, missing with the strike zone here the last couple of pitches. Thrown 5 straight balls.
Ortiz takes a called strike, 1-1.
And you take a look at this shift right here. You see where Adrian Beltre, he's over in the shortstop position. So he's got to be aware if Betts does steal second, who's going to be down there at third? Is the catcher move down? Does Beltre catch the ball and then be aware that, hey, Betts might just slide into second and go to third? And we have seen that earlier this year.
Betts takes his lead off first, 1 out. Top of the first inning, David Ortiz at the plate. A 1-1 from Gonzalez. Ball 2. Chichi Gonzalez, 5 years of age when David Ortiz made his major league debut back in 1997.
Again, Ortiz, some of his issues, he's been expanding the zone, trying to do too much. I mean, it's a cliche thing to say, but right there is a great example. He's worked himself into a 3-1 count. Now, he can be super selective, and what I mean by super selective, just because it's a strike doesn't mean you offer at it. He's got to love this pitch, be sitting on it. If he doesn't get it right there, go ahead and take it.
Full count.
See, and it's almost a situation, too, where you've got Gonzalez. He's on the rocks. He's thrown a number of balls. And you almost want to sort of, what I'd say, keyhole him. Make him throw it to a specific spot. I'd move Betts right now. I'd have him running in this situation. Trust that Ortiz is going to get something that he likes.
There goes Betts. Ground ball to the right side. And Ortiz is retired.
Well, Gonzalez passing the first test right there. A 3-2 pitch he had to make to Ortiz. Now, you've got first base open. You've got Hanley Ramirez at the plate. Home run in each of the last 2 nights. A bit of a free swinger. And he's never seen you before.
A home run in 2 straight after he went 22 games without one.
Just resting. Just resting.
After the terrific start, 10 home runs during the month of April for Hanley Ramirez. So Betts the runner on second with 2 away, top of the first inning at Arlington. Ramirez has now played 5 career games in this ballpark. He's gone deep 4 times.
A good pitch by Gonzalez. Again, as erratic as he's been to start this game, I'd almost, as a hitter, go up there and take a pitch for 2 reasons. Force him to throw strikes, but also as a hitter, you've never seen this guy before. So try and gain some knowledge in that first at bat. See some pitches.
There's Yu Darvish in the Rangers dugout, watching as Gonzalez delivers. Strike called on the inside corner. Now 2-2.
Well, Hanley not excited about that call. That thing running in off the plate. Chris Siegel behind the plate giving him the strike. Again, it'd be one thing if Gonzalez had been hitting his spots and painting, but as a hitter, you hate to have that happen where he's not hitting his spots, and then the umpire gives him a fortuitous call.
Pitch number 20 from Gonzalez is a called strike 3. Hanley Ramirez down on strikes. Betts stranded at second. As Delino DeShields gets set to lead off for the Rangers here in the bottom of the first inning against Wade Miley. He'll be followed by Elvis Andrus, then Prince Fielder, Adrian Beltre in the cleanup spot. Josh Hamilton will bat fifth, and Adam Rosales, Leonys Martin, Robinson Chirinos, and Hanser Alberto. Miley, the 28-year-old left-hander, has won each of his last 3 starts. Record of 4-4 in his first season as a member of the Red Sox. Ball 1 to DeShields, batting .264 on the season, 1 for 4 in the series. For Miley, missing inside, now 2-1.
And Miley, a great guy to play behind because he just works fast. As an infielder, you appreciate that. Just gets the ball and goes. John Farrell telling us before the game that right now, the way the guys are pitching.
Up the middle, leadoff single for DeShields.
And he'd favor Miley if he had to win a game right now. DeShields doing a nice job. He gets on base. Remember, DeShields is a guy that stole over 100 bases in the minor leagues.
In one season.
Yeah, you can pretty much guarantee that he's going to run. Now, you've got the left-hander Miley on the mound, which makes it difficult as a base runner. Catcher line, he throws the ball pretty well. Leon, again, good thrower. This is going to be a test here. One, two, three, four. Look at, he's out there again. He's still going to use this to gather some info.
Only one base runner has attempted to steal a base over Miley's first 9 starts this season.
And it didn't work.
No.
It didn't work. And again, we talk about Sandy Leon behind the plate. He can throw the ball. You know, again, there's no absolute lead that a runner needs to take. It varies with the pitcher on the mound. You know, again, that there are guys that are quick to first, that have deceiving moves. So therefore, you got to shorten it up. And it's just like hitting. If it's not there, you don't take it. I mean, sometimes there's guys you just can't steal against. Right now, he's in information gathering mode. See the move, maybe one-way lead, because possibly later in the game you can have to attempt, or you may have to attempt a stolen base. Right now, again, never seen him before. See what you can gather.
You mentioned the 100 steals. He stole 101 bases back in 2012 in the minor leagues at 2 different levels, 83 and 18.
That's a lot of running, and it's taxing on your body. And people don't realize how difficult that is to do. You're sliding constantly into second, beating yourself up on the ground.
One ball, 2 strike count. Andrus at the plate. Fielder waiting on deck.
Every pitch has been down low, hoping to induce a ground ball. There's a big man right there, Prince Fielder. Man, he's been swinging.
1-2 from Miley. He gets past the third baseman Sandoval into the left field corner. DeShields around third, heading home. Rangers lead 1-0.
Well, you see what speed will do for you right there. DeShields hustling all the way from first. This ball's got to be made. This play's got to be made. You know, at the very least, get over there. He's trying to already plan himself to make two. Sandoval doesn't do a good job. You watch DeShields. He's running all the way, just motoring. Just not a good defensive play by Pablo Sandoval.
Ninth double of the season for Elvis Andrus. His 18th run batted in. The 0-1 to Prince Fielder. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Fielder leading the league in batting average at .364. Tied for the league lead in runs batted in.
Yeah, he's just done a ton of damage here in May. 9 home runs. Hitting over .380. I mean, where he's been especially damaging, .457 with runners in scoring position.
Well, you look at the Rangers breakdown by month. They won just 7 of 21 games in April. They hit 13 home runs. They've already hit 42 in May. They've turned things around under first-year manager Jeff Bannister. As Fielder grounds out to the second baseman Pedroia. Andrus moves to third.
It's still a productive at-bat. You get that runner over to third base with less than 2 outs. Give Beltre a chance here. All he has to do really is hit a ground ball to the middle part of the infield, and Andrus scores easily. Hit a fly ball.
First pitch to Beltre, in for a called strike, 0-1.
You know, this time as a hitter right now, you're excited. You got the infield back, a runner on third. Miley not really a strikeout pitcher, but you've got to stay patient. Sometimes you get too excited. You know, it's almost as if you're counting that RBI before you've driven him in.
Andrus takes his lead off third. Beltre 1 for 8 in the series. Now 1-2. Josh Hamilton waiting on deck. Homered in his first 2 at bats in last night's game. Bounce foul back behind third.
Miley just went upstairs with a fastball, so you're going to have to expect some sort of off speed, probably down and away, just to change the eye level. He wants to go back up and in.
Miley missing high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Again, that pitch not in the strike zone, more of a setup pitch.
Beltre did not go around. So is the first base umpire, crew chief Tim Welke. So the count is full.
I like how Beltre asked for the appeal. Does a check swing, and he's pointing down to first base.
Payoff pitch to Beltre. Here's Miley off the mound as Andrus caught in a rundown. Andrus tagged out as Beltre makes it all the way to second.
Well, a nice job by Miley. Andrus just gets caught off. Bad base running is what happened right there. So he's looking right at him. He does the right thing. Run at the runner. Make him commit. He gets the ball to Sandoval. Sandoval gets it in his throwing hand. Runs down Andrus. Good by Beltre. Not the hitting part, but the base running. He just keeps running. Gets into scoring position for Josh Hamilton.
Hamilton playing in his 6th game. In his 2nd stint with the Rangers. Against the shift. That will do it. But the Rangers take the lead. A run on 2 hits. 1-0 Texas. so you can. Back at Arlington, 1-0 Rangers. Our keys to the game sponsored by Ford.
Well, Boston's got to find the offense. They have been the lowest scoring team in the major leagues for the month of May. Texas has got to play defense. Don't give Boston any opportunities. They need to shore it up and focus a bit more.
You had a look at Delino DeShields, who singled, came around to score the Rangers run. Pablo Sandoval leads off for the Red Sox here in the second against Chichi Gonzalez, who allowed one base runner in his first major league inning. Picked up his first big league strikeout of Hanley Ramirez, and now throws out Sandoval. One out in the second to Los Angeles. Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin. Well, we do. There were storms overnight, rain earlier today, but sunny skies here in Arlington.
Yeah, it's been beautiful so far today. Weren't sure if we were going to get this in.
One away. Here's Mike Napoli. Fouls the first pitch back to the screen.
Now, this is a guy that started to really swing the bat as of late. Hitting for power. A real presence in the middle of the lineup.
Takes strike two. Napoli, the former Texas Ranger, the reigning American League Player of the Week. Homered in 3 straight games. You know, you referenced the Red Sox offense, or lack thereof, during the month of May. Manager John Farrell telling us earlier we've been consistently inconsistent.
Well, they really have. I mean, they've been getting runners on, and that hasn't been the issue.
Long run for Hamilton. He slides and is unable to make the catch.
You know, getting back to this offense, only the White Sox, as we see Josh Hamilton, he's hustling over there, and he does the right thing. He slides. You slide to protect yourself from running straight into the wall. The feet will hit the wall first. Again, has to reacquaint himself with this ballpark. For that matter, just running down balls in the outfield. He's made some exceptional catches so far early on. But getting back to this Red Sox offense, I mean, they're leaving runners on base. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. There hasn't been any kind of slugging. You take a look at what they've done this month. I mean, historically, you're talking about some real futility. Less than 3 runs, and that was supposed to be a strength.
And they allow the first inning run tonight. Red Sox have now been outscored by 22 runs in the first inning. Second worst in the major leagues. The White Sox are minus 27 in inning number 1. Payoff pitch to Napoli, and he fouls it back to the screen with Brock Holt waiting on deck.
You know, and why I think this will turn is because they are getting a lot of runners on base. They just aren't driving them in. And the runners in scoring position, that's something over the course of a season, you know, there isn't like a magic elixir. I'm a good hitter with runners in scoring position. It'll eventually even itself out. Right now, this month, just has not been good. I mean, you guys got like Pedroia, he's 200. David Ortiz, 132. Hanley Ramirez, 220, with runners in scoring position.
There's Pedroia in the Red Sox dugout. 9th pitch of the at-bat from Gonzalez to Napoli. He did not go around. Second walk issued by Gonzalez. Napoli to first.
You see Napoli hold up this pitch out of the zone.
There's Chi-Chi's mom, Nancy, watching her son in his major league debut. Both of Chi-Chi's parents were born in Cuba. His dad Carlos moved to the United States at the age of 6. Mom Nancy at the age of 18. Chi-Chi born in Boynton Beach, Florida. Attended Oral Roberts University in Oklahoma. 8 starts at the AAA level this season. Facing the local product, born in Fort Worth, Texas, Brock Holt. Holt then went on to play at Rice University. Fouls it off 1-1.
Yeah, Holt, a bit of a utility guy, can play any spot in the outfield. Shortstop today. Very athletic, very versatile.
Napoli, the runner on first with 1 out. Top of the 2nd inning. Texas with a 1-0 lead.
You were talking about the versatility. Look at Brock Holt, what he's done this year. I mean, everywhere. Just looking for that first base, catcher, and pitcher spot. We got a whole team there.
Rangers unable to turn 2. Napoli out at second, 2 away.
Well, you can't assume a double play, but this had all the makings. Andrews just a little bit lazy, maybe concerned that Napoli was going to get him, but unable to turn that. You know, again, does it seem like a big deal? Well, no, but it's extra pitches, a little more stress for Gonzalez. And that won't go down as an error in the book. But I can assure you, Jeff Bannister is thinking, man, we have got to make that play if we're going to be a championship ball club.
With 2 outs here, Sandy Leon. Leon making his 14th start behind the plate for the Red Sox this season. Former Washington National. 36 pitches to this point for Gonzalez.
Well, definitely in a hitter's count right now. Gotta look for something to square up, something that you love. I would not be running at first base at all. See, right now you're getting to take the next 2 pitches. Again, you're making Gonzalez work. He's thrown a lot of pitches so far. And as a ball club, you're accumulating information.
.30. So Leon heads down to first. Second walk of the inning. Third of the game issued by Gonzalez.
And see, that's why not turning that double play impacts his ball club. Gonzalez walks the next hitter on 4 pitches. Okay, now he's in a bit of a jam, first and second. He should be sitting in the dugout. Again, this all just creates unnecessary stress, and you don't need to do that to a young player. Again, that's why not turning that double play looms so large.
So with 2 on and 2 out, here's the number 9 hitter, Rusney Castillo. Castillo 2 for 8 in the series, batting .217 for the season. Fouls off the first pitch, 0-1.
See, and that right there, Castillo has never seen this guy. Just threw 4 straight balls, and I'm not saying you can't swing at that first pitch, but that pitch better be thigh high and something that you see in batting practice, not something low and near the ground. Again, another situation. Red Sox have some runners on. Looking for that base hit with runners in scoring position.
0-2 on Castillo. Holt the runner on second. Leon takes his lead off first. Castillo lost his bat, strikes out on 3 pitches. So the Red Sox strand 2 in the second inning. T-Mobile, switch to the data strong network. Back in Arlington, baseball night in America, bottom of the second inning. Rangers lead the Red Sox 1-0. As Adam Rosales will lead off for the Rangers against Wade Miley. Rosales, Martin, and Chirinos. Here in the second inning, Texas scoring a run on 2 hits in the first off Miley, who in his last start against the Angels on Sunday retired the first 14 batters he faced. Different story here tonight. Continues to work very quickly as Rosales falls behind 0-2.
Well, again, when you work at this tempo, your defense usually helps you because they're constantly staying involved. They're focusing.
Charging is Sandoval. And the throw is away from Napoli, so Rosales, leadoff man on for the Rangers.
Well, Sandoval coming in does a nice job of getting the ball. The transfer doesn't really have a good handle on it. See, tries to hurry that throw, and Napoli just lets it go by. Don't want to put himself in harm's way. And Sandoval not being charged with any errors so far in this game, but 2 plays that, if you ask him, I think he expects to make.
Right. So it's an infield single for Rosales as Martin steps in. Leonys Martin 2 for 4 with an RBI in last night's game.
See Sandoval just daring Martin to bunt. Still think he's just trying to get the out at first, though.
Strike 2, says third base umpire Todd Tichenor. Jeff Bannister not happy. The 0-2 from Miley. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jeff Bannister in his first season as manager of the Texas Rangers. They've turned things around during the month of May after winning only 7 games in April. Bannister spent 29 years in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as a player and a coach at both the major league level and minor league level.
Yeah, talked about all the experience that he garnered working for Chuck Tanner, Clint Hurdle, as you mentioned, all the time in the minor leagues as well.
Well, 2-2 on Martin. And he got pretty emotional when we asked him about finally getting his shot in his home state of Texas.
Yeah, I think many people probably would have decided to get off that road. Again, you mentioned how many years, the travels, the sacrifices. And he brought up an interesting point. He said, look, there are a lot of different people that could manage a team. You're talking about X's and O's and the strategy. He said, but it's really about leading, inspiring, impacting, the men in that clubhouse.
Martin down on strikes, throw to second. Rosales is tagged out.
As I mentioned, Leon just has an absolute cannon. Now he's going on the 3-2 pitch right there. Actually, that may have been, was that 2-2? But he's running right there, looking in. Leon just absolutely blows him up, and it was 3-2.
Now with 2 away, it's Robinson Chirinos who takes ball 1. Drove in 2 runs in last night's game.
Tell you what, Miley is just beating up the bottom part of that strike zone. I mean, it's just get the ball, go. I'm throwing something knees below. You know, interesting, one of the ways you would combat Miley in the past, step out, kind of take your time, try to disrupt his rhythm. Now with the pace of play ruled, that's not a strategy anymore.
Right.
I see Chirinos just trying to step out, take a little time, go back to the dugout.
Second strikeout for Miley. Baseball Night in America will return in a moment. As we move to the third in Arlington, in the major league debut of Alex Chichi Gonzalez.
Well, the second time around in the order, this is when you find out what did these Red Sox hitters learn first time through. Again, I'm taking some pitches. Gonzalez a bit erratic. 3 walks already. There have been a couple hitters that helped him out. Castillo, Resny Castillo, and Pablo Sandoval, very aggressive.
He threw 42 pitches over the first 2 innings. Pedroia grounded out to third his first time up. A 1-1 from Gonzalez. Nice play by Beltre, who throws Pedroia out for the second time in 3 innings.
Jeff Bannister made a comment that Adrian Beltre never gets a bad hop, and it's not because he doesn't get a bad hop, but because he is so good defensively down there at third base. No, really, the difference in this ball game right now. Beltre makes plays at third, Sandoval doesn't.
One away, here's Mookie Betts, who walked back in the first inning. Hamilton moving to his right. Quickly 2 away.
Four pitches, 4 strikes for Gonzalez right now. So here's the cat and mouse game. If you're Ortiz, are you ready to jump on that first pitch fastball that possibly only have a 5-pitch inning? Gonzalez, are you thinking, well, Ortiz is going to try to work the count, see some pitches, so I'm going to try and sneak a fastball in? Let's see. Good pitch.
Ortiz grounded out his first time up. 2 away, top of the third inning. Texas with a 1-0 lead. Nothing in 2 on Ortiz.
I can tell you from experience, when you're struggling, every time you go up to the plate, you feel like you're 0-2. Not only do you feel like you're 0-2, you are 0-2.
The 0-2 from Gonzalez. Ortiz again grounds out into the shift. Gonzalez retires the Red Sox in order on 8 pitches, 7 strikes in the third. 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot for the 2015 All-Star Game. Vote at MLB.com/vote. Catch all of the excitement of the 86th Major League Baseball All-Star Game July 14th live on Fox. Hanser Alberto leading off for the Rangers one night after his Major League debut. He tripled for his first career hit. Thrown out by Miley, one away. Our J.P. Morosi caught up between innings with Red Sox skipper John Farrell.
John, we've talked about Wade Miley's tempo out of the windup. How impressed have you been with his ability to make pitches out of the stretch once he's had men on base?
Oh, John, he's got such a weapon in keeping guys close with that pickoff move. But as we've seen, the ability to throw all three pitches in hitter counts keeps some guys with some disrupted timing. So much like we've seen in the last 4 or 5 starts, he's thrown the ball like he has been.
With Chichi Gonzalez making his Major League debut, maybe some cases first time through where your hitter's a little bit over-aggressive against a young rookie in his first start.
I don't know about over-aggressive. Walked 3 guys the first time through the order, so we're taking a look at some pitches. First time we've seen him, so we're trying to get an idea of what he might go to in individual counts.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
All right, the thoughts of Red Sox manager John Farrell. His team trails 1-0 with Delino DeShields at the plate. Miley behind in the count, 2-0. DeShields singled in the first, came around to score the game's first run. And Eric, I really do not want to point this out, but
go ahead.
You were a teammate of his father.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, his old man, Delino DeShields, he could play. Very athletic, very accomplished high school basketball player. Tremendous speed, hit from the left side. And yes, I did play alongside his dad,
who is now managing the Cincinnati Reds AAA affiliate in Louisville. And his son has his second hit in 3 innings.
Well, this time down at first base, I think he's going to run at some point. The reason I say that, he was down there in his last at bat, garnered a few pickoffs, was able to get some reads on Miley. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. This is as good a time as any to try it.
Andrews doubled into Shields his first time up, giving Texas a 1-0 lead. Andrews rips this one down the left field line, foul. Now 1-1. Wade Miley, an all-star back in 2012, spent 4 seasons with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Won a career-high 16 games that year, finished second in Rookie of the Year balloting in the National League behind Bryce Harper. He's won his last 3 starts, and as you mentioned earlier, John Farrell telling us that if he had to pick a pitcher right now to win 1 game, it might very well be Miley.
That's an excellent pitch right there. Tied up Andrews, and that's something out of the zone as a hitter. Like, I'm going to get it. Oh, no. There's absolutely nothing he could do as a left-handed pitcher. That ball just bearing in on the hands of Andrews.
The 1-2. Castillo backpedaling in right. 2 away. Prince Fielder grounded out his first time up. .44 hits during the month of May for Fielder. That is a new career high. Shields the runner on first with 2 outs. 1-1. You see the number 84 on Fielder's back. That signifies the year he was born.
I did not know that. That's interesting. You watch the way that Miley has gone after both the right-handed and the left-handed hitters. I mean, he comes way in off the plate. Not going to leave anything out over the plate. Not trying to get you away. Just in. You see that right there? As a hitter, you think you can get to that pitch. Because, again, it's not overpowering, but you just can't. And if you do, you probably hit it foul.
2-2.
I think right now, if I'm the Shields at first base, I'm running. 2-2 count, not really favorable for Prince.
Center field, Mookie Betts. Rangers retired in the 3rd on baseball night in America. Entourage from Warner Brothers Pictures. See the movie in theaters Wednesday. And by Vanda Pharmaceuticals. Well, it all starts here. The Major League Baseball 2015 first-year player draft coverage begins Monday, June 8th on MLB Network and MLB.com. Hanley Ramirez takes strike one from Chichi Gonzalez, who was the 23rd overall pick in the draft back in 2013 by the Texas Rangers. He struck out Ramirez back in the first inning for his first Major League strikeout. And now Ramirez behind the count, 0-2.
He took something off of that pitch. Ramirez way out in front. 11 of the 13 Red Sox hitters have taken the first pitch.
The 0-2 from Gonzalez. Ramirez gets the bat on it. Moving to his left is Martin. One away. Time to check in on the Cardinals with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin. All right, thanks very much, Kevin. Gonzalez has retired 5 in a row. Here's Sandoval. Swings at the first pitch. Charging is Alberto. And the toss with his glove is in time to beat Sandoval.
Well, this is a nice play by Alberto. Coming in, makes the flip with the glove. Easily gets Sandoval. And not really, I was going to say, not really what the Red Sox are trying to do here. Again, they're taking pitches, right? They're taking the first pitch, but they're not lengthening the inning as far as elevating the pitch count. We've got 4 pitches right now in this inning, 2 outs.
And Gonzalez threw only 8 in the last inning.
Yep.
Here's Napoli, who walked his first time up. I was about to say Alberto was playing in only his second major league game. Last year won a minor league Gold Glove award, top defensive shortstop in all of minor league baseball. So do you think he's tried that before?
Well, I think it's interesting. You mentioned the second big league game was at Short last night, second tonight.
Two and 1 on Napoli with 2 away, top of the 4th inning. And the Rangers leading the Red Sox 1-0.
Well, Gonzalez doing a good job just in the fact that, again, he does have, a relatively high pitch count just because of the first couple innings. Last 2 innings, though, he's been marvelous. This inning and the previous. But there haven't been really any hard hit balls. I can't think of any line drives or any hard hit grounders. Beltre made a nice play on one down the line, but other than that, he's been missing the barrel of the bat. I mean, you look at that. Look at that 3rd inning, 8 pitches, and then come right back here, 9 in the 4th. And that's at the top of the lineup. That's the 2nd time around.
Red Sox have hit only 2 balls out of the infield to this point. Holt waiting on deck should Napoli reach. Gonzalez has walked 3. Payoff pitch to Napoli. Fouls it back.
Well, Napoli getting his money's worth. You saw 8 pitches in the first at bat. Ended up drawing a walk. We've seen 7 already this at bat. Again, one of the hottest Red Sox hitters.
So 62 pitches thrown by Gonzalez, 16 of the 62 to Mike Napoli.
Yep.
Gonzalez missing inside, so Napoli walks for the 2nd time. 4th walk issued by Chichi Gonzalez.
Yeah, 2 great at bats by Mike Napoli tonight. Battles, lays off pitches that are close, but eventual ball 4s.
So with 2 away and Napoli on at first, here is Brock Holt. Grounded into a fielder's choice back in the 2nd inning.
Each time that Gonzalez has walked a hitter so far in this game, he's come back to retire the very next one.
1-1 on Holt. Chichi Gonzalez in his major league debut, 23-year-old right-hander from Boynton Beach, Florida. That will do it for the Red Sox in the fourth as Andrews steps on second. 1-0 Rangers. Not won a home series so far this season. Just 7-14 here in Arlington. They're the only team in all of baseball with 10 more wins on the road than at home. But they have the lead tonight. Split the first two games with the Red Sox. Strike one, says Tim Welke, with Adrian Beltre leading off here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Josh Hamilton on deck. Our JP Morosi chatted with Josh earlier today, and we will hear excerpts of that interview. You can also catch the whole thing on foxsports.com. Two to Beltre. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I love Beltre. Anytime there's a possible check swing, he calls for the appeal down to first.
And we've already seen it twice during this at bat. And once earlier.
Yep.
From Miley. Backhanded by Holt. Long throw across. Out at first is Beltre. So with Josh Hamilton stepping to the plate, let's get on the pregame conversation. Josh Ham with JP.
Josh, when you think about this season, how would you describe what this entire experience has been like?
Oh, man. getting back here, frustrating. Times of sad times, happy days, anger at times, a lot of mixed emotions.
Josh Hamilton, 2 home runs last night. You heard his thoughts, some anger, some sad times, mixed emotions following shoulder surgery and the trade from the Angels back to the Texas Rangers.
But really all irrelevant now. He's back where he's comfortable, where he enjoys playing the game, where he's familiar with his surroundings. I think the thing for him that has been most rewarding, and he said it, is his first game back here at Texas, the fans embraced him. I think that was some concern. And you look at what he does here. It's a wonder that these fans, no wonder that they do embrace him. I mean, he absolutely is a monster here offensively.
First walk issued by Wade Miley tonight. 1 out base runner for the Rangers as Adam Rosales steps in. An infield single his first time up. The middle, base hit. Second hit of the game for Rosales. Hamilton to second. Rangers threatening here in the 4th inning. 2 on. Only 1 out. And you talk about the terrific numbers Josh Hamilton put up during his first stint with the Rangers, a 5-time All-Star. Then it was on to the Angels. And the trade on April 27th. Josh Hamilton back as a member of the Texas Rangers.
Well, you look at what happened with the Angels. Just was never able to get on track. And look, nobody feels worse about it than the player. I mean, he wants to do. Everybody wants to do well. You want to please the fans. And the expectations were huge. Just never got things going with the Angels.
Leonys Martin struck out his first time up. Hamilton, runner on second. Rosales over at first. And Martin shoots this one into left field, and it drops in front of Hanley Ramirez for a base hit. So the Rangers have loaded the bases against Wade Miley here in the 4th.
Well, Hanley out in left field, not really sure how to play this ball. Starts to come in, and I'm going to wait for it, keep it in front. I mean, didn't look real good, but the right play. You hope Miley can induce a ground ball right here. Just didn't want to play that into a run, did Hanley Ramirez.
Robinson Chirinos at the plate. Struck out back in the 2nd inning. With the bases loaded, 1 out. First pitch to Chirinos. Right field. Over the head of Castillo. Hamilton scores. Here comes Rosales. Holding at third is Martin. Texas now leads 3-0.
Well, it looked like to me Castillo just had a bad route. Didn't realize how hard the ball was hit. Almost takes a step in and then 90-degree angle instead of going back diagonally. Well, Miley frustrated probably at how hard the ball was hit, but Also probably not enamored with the way Castillo went after that ball. Again, 2 plays defensively tonight. Sandoval at third base, and that one right there. And again, that ball was hit hard, no question about it. But the route was not the best of routes.
Robbie Ross Jr., the left-hander, up in the Red Sox pen. A 2-run double off the bat of Chirinos, driving in 2 runs. Chirinos with 21 hits this season, 15 of the 21 have gone for extra bases. So now with second and third and 1 out, infield in with Alberto at the plate. Bounce back to the pitcher Miley, his first time up. And he takes a called strike 1.
Really, this is the at-bat of the game. Miley is able to retire Alberto without giving up a run. You put the infield back. Here, a base hit scores 2, and then you're talking about a 5-0 game.
Alberto's father hosts a sports radio show in the Dominican Republic, and Hanser's nickname is Radio. He actually pretends to call play-by-play around the batting cage and the dugout.
Yeah, you better look out, Kenny.
He has the O at the end of his name. Safe at home is Martin. 4-0 Texas.
Well, Holt, not your regular shortstop, makes a nice backhanded play, but bounces the ball. Leon does a great job of picking the ball. Really a nice slide. You watch his pick. That's a great job of picking it. Outstanding slide. Just not a good throw at all by Holt. Never gave him a chance. Again, Miley plagued by 3 plays defensively that you would hope a big league defender would make.
So a fielder's choice, run batted in for Alberto. As DeShields lays down the bunt. Coming home to score is Chirinos. And the Rangers now lead 5-0.
This is just really a safety squeeze. He's not breaking the runner on the square round to Shield. Actually just bunt for a base hit. Really, the Red Sox have just unraveled defensively. Again, I think it's a combination of frustration. He never has a handle on the ball there. It's a
We welcome those of you who have been watching our game earlier and then went to St. Louis. More rain in the Midwest. Well, the Texas Rangers have scored 4 runs here in the 4th inning. Another play at the plate on the throw from Sandoval.
Well, Sandoval makes a nice play here. It's about time the defense helps out Wade Miley. Gets the runner at the plate, but 5-0 already.
So now 2 away. Rangers bat around as fielder flies out to Castillo in right. But the Texas Rangers score 4 runs in the 4th. Now lead the Red Sox 5-0. J.P. Morosi. Chichi Gonzalez in his first major league start has not allowed a hit over the first 4 innings, facing Sandy Leon, who takes a called strike. 0-1. Leon walked his first time up. That was pitch number 67 from Gonzalez.
Well, and important for Gonzalez this inning to get the Rangers right back in the dugout, continue the momentum. Don't give the Red Sox any life right now.
Gonzalez has retired the first batter in every inning to this point. He has walked 4. Struck out 2. And 1-2 to Leon, fouled off to the right side.
Well, he's been effectively wild, not in an intimidating way, but just enough where he's nibbling on the corners. Some pitches are off. You get guys to go after it. You don't know if he's going to throw a strike or not. And he's got a lead, and that always helps, especially for a young pitcher.
A 1-2 from Gonzalez.
You know, just watching so far this game, the Red Sox just have not taken a lot of good swings against Gonzalez. You know, whether it's late movement, deception, just don't look like they're those good hacks like, oh, I just missed it. Oh, I just fouled something back.
Castillo on deck, then Pedroia. Right back to Gonzalez. Leon is retired. Well, between innings, our J.P. Morosi chatted with Rangers skipper Jeff Bannister.
Jeff, including that last half inning, how has DeShield's speed changed this game?
Oh, it's been paramount for us, really. It's such an exciting player. It's hard to defend. You got to pay attention to him. You got to plan for him, and he sparks this offense for us.
Chichi Gonzalez, he's pitched out of trouble a little bit. He's had some traffic on the bases. How impressed have you been with his poise?
Very impressed, and that's what we saw in spring training. I think he had a little anxiety there in the first, and he settled down, and his misses have been down, which have been nice, and he's getting these guys in swing mode, and he's allowing the movement of all his pitches to aid in the outs for him right now.
So, Jeff, I did notice a couple zeros up there, so I got to ask, is Chichi on a pitch count here this afternoon?
We'll keep a close eye on it.
Very political answer, Jeff. Thank you. Back to you.
All right, thanks, JP. Well, Gonzalez is pitching on 7 days rest. He made 8 starts at AAA Round Rock.
Well, you notice when he misses, he doesn't miss over the middle of the plate. His misses are off the plate. Again, if he is missing, and you're missing over the middle of the plate, you're going to get peppered, especially at this level. But he's got the movement, hasn't got rattled. Again, I cannot think of a good swing or a ball that's really been hard hit. We're fouling pitches off, we're banging them into the ground.
Payoff pitch from Gonzalez. Pitch number 80 from Gonzalez is ball 4, so he issues his 5th walk as Castillo heads to first.
Now 5 walks in 4 1/3, but no hits. And as I mentioned earlier, after every walk so far, the next guy, he gets out.
The next guy is Pedroia, who was grounded out twice to Adrian Beltre. Pedroia working on a 9-game hit streak. Takes ball 1. One out, top of the 5th inning. Rangers lead the Red Sox 5-0. And Pedroia lifts this one to deep center field. Back to make the catch on the warning track is Martin for out number 2. So Gonzalez now 5 for 5 following walks.
Yeah, he's absolutely been consistent. That's the 3rd time that Pedroia has seen him tonight. Got a hold of that ball. Really the first time that we've seen somebody drive a ball.
Mookie Betts walked in the 1st inning, fly to right in the 3rd. Castillo, the runner on first with 2 away.
Red Sox continuing the pattern of taking pitches. Taking that first one. Chili Davis, the Boston Red Sox hitting coach. Great hitter in his day.
Gonzalez missing away, now 2-1. David Ortiz looming on deck. Should Betts reach? The 2-1 from Gonzalez. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Again, if you're Betts, you've got to square this thing up as far as looking for a certain location. Just because it's a strike does not mean you offer at it. If you don't love it, you let it go, get down to first, and let the big man come to the plate.
Beltre. And that will do it for the Red Sox in the 5th. Chevrolet. Find new roads. Eric, have you seen the new extreme competition called Bullseye? It's ridiculously intense. It's insane. People riding under trucks, somersaulting over canyons, really crazy stuff, all trying to hit a bullseye. Twilight's Kellen Lutz hosts Bullseye Wednesday at 9, 8 Central on Fox. Don't miss it.
I'm not going to miss it. I will be in front of the tube that night.
Five 5-0 Rangers with Adrian Beltre leading off against Wade Miley here in the 5th. Beltre led off for the Rangers in the 4th. He grounded out, but Texas would go on to score 4 runs in the inning. On the throw from Holt, Napoli could not make the play. Beltre on at first.
Well, tough play for Napoli. That's the 3rd ball today that Brock Holt has thrown into the ground. Now, granted, he's deep, but he's got time, can move his feet. You know, fortunately, earlier, Napoli was able to pick one. Unable to come up with it there. And remember, he short-hopped the catcher at a play at the plate.
Second error committed by the Red Sox tonight. So Beltre on at first. Here's Josh Hamilton. Hamilton has grounded to short, walked and scored in the 4th. 2 home runs last night for Hamilton.
You see, defensively, Pablo Sandoval makes his way over between first and second. You see right over there, I'm going to get that telestrator working at some point. But between Pedroia and Napoli. Remember, he walked Josh Hamilton last inning. And that's what started the scoring opportunities.
Hamilton heads to first yet again.
First baseman, Adam Rosales.
First and second, nobody out for Adam Rosales, who has 2 hits tonight. Pitching coach Carl Willis out to the mound.
Well, this is just a trip to give the bullpen some time to start getting loose. Yeah, Miley has not pitched all that poorly. He's given up some hard hit balls, but really the defense for the Red Sox has not helped them a bit tonight.
Tonight's game brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Five 5-0 Rangers. Bottom of the 5th inning. First and second, nobody out. Robbie Ross Jr. continues to throw in the Red Sox pen. A 1-0 to Rosales. Now 2 balls, no strikes. Miley has hit the 90 pitch mark. Beltre and Hamilton, the base runners for Texas, as Rosales fouls it back. Now 2-1. Drops in. 3rd hit of the night for Rosales. For the 2nd straight inning, the Rangers have loaded the bases. As we head to Los Angeles, what did Giancarlo Stanton do now, Kevin Burkhardt? All right, thanks, Kevin. That will be all for Wade Miley. Exits down 5-0 with the bases loaded in the 5th. In Major League Baseball, and Miley exits tonight trailing 5-0.
Hey, he faced 24 batters, 13 of them reached base. Again, you talk about the Red Sox, the payroll, their upper echelon team. They don't have an ace. That's crazy.
Yet they started the day only 3 games out in the American League East. 5 games under 500. 3 behind the first place Yankees.
Right, they're playing in a division right now that all the clubs have a weakness. You know, and as you mentioned, only a couple games out, but not because they're playing good baseball. The reality is they do not have a guy that can go out and stop the bleeding right now. They don't have that horse. And I tell you, I can't recall a team that won in the postseason that didn't have a horse.
Martin with a base hit into right field. Our former Ranger Robbie Ross Jr. So Beltre scores. Out at third, Hamilton, as he held up, was not sure if Castillo would be able to make the play.
Well, see, Hamilton is going to hold up, but then he must think that he catches the ball, because watch him. He runs back. Watch, I'm running back. Uh-oh, we got problems. That turns into a fielder's choice for the hitter.
A fielder's choice and a run batted in for Martin. Here's Chirinos, who doubled in 2 runs with the bases loaded in the 4th inning.
Yeah, that's not good when you're going to arbitration. You need that hit in the RBI.
He gets the RBI, but not the hit.
Not the hit. Well, we talked about, you look at the standings, and again, the Red Sox are 3 out. Well, that sounds great. But they're 5 games under 500, as you see, and they do not have an ace. They don't have one.
As we head downstairs to JP, What do you expect from the Red Sox as far as their starting rotation?
Well, Kenny, this is a tricky thing for the Red Sox. Of course, they've been in conversations with the Phillies about Cole Hamels for a long time, but here's the problem. The Phillies would love to have Mookie Betts or Blake Swihart or Eduardo Rodriguez, and all of them are now on the Red Sox Major League roster. Would be very tough for the Red Sox to trade them.
Diving play by Sandoval for out number 2.
Well, nice play by Pablo Sandoval right there. Gets a good jump. You see he's down, moving his feet, lays out. You know, defense helping a little bit right now, but already 6 runs on the board. Could have used it a bit earlier.
JP mentioned Eduardo Rodriguez, the 22-year-old who made his Major League debut here in Arlington on Thursday night for the Red Sox, did not allow a run in 7 2/3 innings.
He's going to get another opportunity to start. 6-man rotation at least next time through. And a lot of talk right now. Joe Kelly gets the start tomorrow for these Red Sox. How goes that start may determine the future of this rotation. John Farrell right there, pitching coach Carl Willis.
And Rodriguez. The 0-1 to Alberto. Held off to the right side. So Alberto with a couple of runs batted in his first 2 big league games. Triple last night. Drove in a run on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning tonight. From Ross. Alberto down on strikes. Rangers and a run. 5 innings in the books. It is now 6-0 Texas. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most rewarding SUV ever. And by Lowe's. Lowe's never stop improving. Major League debut. Chichi Gonzalez has not allowed a hit over the first 5 innings. The longest no-hit bid in a Rangers debut. You have to go back to May of '92 Roger Pavlik against the Chicago White Sox.
Sinker slider guy. I remember Roger. Pitched a few years in the big leagues.
David Ortiz 0 for 2. Has grounded out twice. And we talked about Eduardo Rodriguez, who made his major league debut here for the Red Sox Thursday. So you have two pitchers, Rodriguez and Gonzalez, in the same series, making their big league debut. They've combined to allow no runs on 3 hits now in 12 2/3 innings.
Yeah, 2 great appearances so far.
Now Gonzalez has walked 5, including 2 in the second inning. His only 1-2-3 inning was the third. The 2-1 to Ortiz, now 2-2.
Well, you see the shift right there. Whole left side open, save for Beltre over there.
New player metrics being measured by Major League Baseball's StatCast tracking system. Gonzalez missing a weight. Count is full. Hanley Ramirez on deck. Rangers lead the Red Sox 6-0. Top of the 6th inning. Payoff pitch to Ortiz. And there is the Red Sox first base hit of the game. It comes in the 6th inning. It rolls to the wall. Ortiz in at second with a stand-up double. First hit allowed by Chichi Gonzalez in his major league debut after 5 no-hit innings.
Ortiz does a nice job of driving it to left center. Earlier in the at-bat, frustrated after he took a swing. But this is what the Red Sox need to see. Take what the pitcher gives you. David Ortiz can get some sleep tonight, feeling a little bit better. And what a game this man's pitched so far.
Finally allows a hit on his 93rd pitch of the night.
I mean, you couldn't ask for a better effort up to this point.
Hanley Ramirez 0 for 2. Over to cover is Gonzalez. Ortiz to third.
Oh, you see David Ortiz clapping. I think he's pointing to Gonzalez, acknowledging his performance as a first-timer. It's got to feel good for the youngster. And he comes right back and throws a first pitch and absolutely eats up Hanley Ramirez. I mean, that swing looked like a defensive swing.
Sandoval 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. 2 of the 11 ground ball outs induced by Chichi Gonzalez. Gonzalez out of Oral Roberts University. He was the 2013 Southland Conference Pitcher of the Year. Tonight's Red Sox starter Wade Miley also pitched in the Southland Conference at Southeastern Louisiana University. Miley 5 years older than Gonzalez, who falls behind in the count 2-0 with Sandoval at the plate. Tanner Shepard's up in the Texas pen. Gonzalez now at 96 pitches. Right back to the box. Ortiz caught in a rundown. 2 away.
Well, Gonzalez doing it all tonight. Another comebacker. Sees Ortiz. He's going to preserve that shutout. Gets the ball to Beltre. He goes to back up. Beltre runs him down. Keeps Sandoval at first base.
Ortiz is not clapping and pointing at Gonzalez now. But his mom, Nancy, certainly is celebrating her son's major league debut. There's Mike Napoli. He has walked twice. 17 pitches seen by Napoli over his first 2 at-bats.
Yeah, Napoli has had great at-bats. They resulted in 2 walks, saw a lot of pitches, laid off some good pitches. You know, Gonzalez, we talked about at the top of the show, 4 or 5 pitches. Throw any of them for strikes. Movement on everything. Again, nothing overpowering, but enough to keep the hitters off balance. Yeah, that's 91. 91, though, he's getting it by a guy like Napoli. Got the slider, the sinker, the change. I mean, this is... He's been exactly as advertised.
Pitch number 101 from Gonzalez, missing high, now 2-2.
And I don't think we've seen his expression change the entire game.
Jeff Bannister told us he's a ground ball machine who loves to compete.
Yep.
Ripped to right. Hamilton on the run. Can't get to it. Rolls to the wall. Holding at third is Sandoval. Napoli in at second with the second extra base hit of the inning for the Red Sox. Here comes Jeff Bannister. What a performance by Chichi Gonzalez in his major league debut. Gonzalez exits with a 6-0 lead. The two base runners are his responsibility. Second and third, 2 outs. Tanner Shepherds out of the Rangers pen to face Brock Holt. Sandoval on third. Napoli takes his lead off second. 12th appearance for Shepherds. Pitched in Thursday night's game in the series opener.
Another opportunity for the Red Sox. Runners in scoring position. We talked about their futility. Hey, you watch here. Gonzalez on the mound. He's thinking, all right, I'm going to get this next hitter. He realizes Jeff Bannister's coming out. No, 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 no. Darn it. I don't think he's just saying darn it, but that's a competitive nature right there. Now Jeff Bannister's coming out. He's going to hand him the ball. I don't want the ball yet, son. Tell you did a great job. A teaching moment right there. I mean, you can't say enough about what Gonzalez did tonight. Dodged bullets. When he got into any kind of trouble as far as the walks. Just, I mean, that was the only motion we saw all night.
Did not allow a base hit over the first 5 innings until David Ortiz doubled to left center on the 93rd pitch thrown by Gonzalez tonight.
It really was impressive in that you look at the swings that the Red Sox hitters took, and outside of that ball that Ortiz barreled up on that pitch, there were a lot of bad swings tonight. Red Sox need something just to feel good about themselves, to take that pressure off of each of these hitters where you feel like, okay, I've got to get a hit. We never get a hit with runners in scoring position. I've got to get a hit. I've got to get a hit. Just makes things more difficult.
Boston 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight. 2-2 from Shepherds. Foul back to the screen. Down on strikes. Red Sox strand 2. Gonzalez in his debut. No runs in 5 2/3.
how fast my man is moving. Delino DeShields, early on in the game, this base hit. He's moving around second, then boom, he turns it on at 20 miles per hour. He gets around those bases in 7.7 seconds. You do not want to get in front of that mound. Man, that's what I mean. That guy is moving right there. You know, reminds me of a player, Tom Goodwin, where you used to just go to games to watch him run.
Tom now a coach with the New York Mets. Nice play by Sandoval. Fires across. One away as we check in with Kevin Burkhardt in Los Angeles. Kevin.
I can't wait to see the post game that those guys are going to do in studio after that Dodger Cardinal game. That's what I like about Kev and Big Frank. Get some good food and be there all night.
Could be a long night.
You watch Pablo Sandoval. He gets up, extends, and now what he does is he gathers his feet, makes a good, strong throw, gets some speedy DeShields.
Elvis Andrus drove in a run back in the first inning. After sitting out last night's game, he had played in the first 48 for the Texas Rangers. Rangers with a run in the first, 4 in the fourth, and another in the fifth. Lead the Red Sox 6-0. Holt. 2 away.
Designated hitter, Chris Fielder.
Prince Fielder 0 for 3. Started the day at 364. His average has gone all the way down to 358.
Well, we talked about what a torrid pace he's been on for the month of May, and just the presence of him in the lineup. Swinging the bat like he did in Detroit, Milwaukee. Finally healthy again. You know, the one difference now, he's taken on the role of DH. When you look at that month of May, where it ranks in all of Major League Baseball. But he's recognized that, you know, he hasn't been playing as well defensively as he had in the past. Good way to get Moreland in the lineup, who
Robbie Ross Jr. not happy with himself.
Yeah, that's just all back right there, little arm. That's going to be sore. That's a lot of tissue right there. You can tell Ross had been trying to come in, but obviously didn't want to get in that far.
6th time Prince Fielder has been hit by a pitch this season. So here's Adrian Beltre with Fielder on at first and 2 outs. And the Rangers leading the Red Sox 6-0.
Well, the Rangers playing some good baseball as of late. Adrian Beltre really hasn't hit his stride yet. This Ranger club's going to be interesting because they've just been told, whether it's nationally, from others in the league, they're going to be you guys are going to be a decent team, but not anything to worry about.
Ripped to the third baseman, Sandoval. And that will do it for the Rangers in the 6th. Baseball Night in America will return after a word from your local Fox station. Every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Visit MLB.TV for details. Sandy León leading off for the Red Sox here in the 7th against Tanner Scheppers, who came on in relief of Chichi Gonzalez. He pitched 5 2/3 in his major league debut. Did not allow a hit over the first 5 innings. Two and 2 on León. Strikeout number 2 for Tanner Scheppers. Well, after the Red Sox won the World Series in 2013, they finished in last place in 2014. They brought in Sandoval, Ramirez, Miley, and Porcello. The roster also sprinkled with youth. They're in last place in the division. As we mentioned earlier, they're only 3 games out in the AL East.
Yeah, only 3 games out, but that's because the AL East is a total, this is crazy, a total of 10 games below 500.
Andrews to first to retire Castillo. 2 away. A look at the up and down season for John Farrell's Red Sox. They started 7-3, then 4-6. The next 10, 2-8, 6-4, 7-2.
I remember now that Prince Fielder, the previous inning, got hit pretty square. At 2 outs, nobody on. Shepard staying away, doesn't want to wake a sleeping dog. Yeah, the Red Sox, you just expected a lot more offensively. And it's been a collection of struggles. Big Poppy gets the brunt of it right now, but besides David Ortiz, Hanley has struggled, and Pablo Sandoval, he's given up right-handed hitting altogether.
No play for Shepard, so Pedroia is on base for the first time tonight. Third hit for the Red Sox as Pedroia extends his hitting streak to 10 games. Two-out base runner for the Red Sox. Here's Mookie Betts. Walked in the first. Fly to right, grounded to third.
You know, John Farrell bringing up a point as I watched Mookie Betts take the first pitch. You know, he said we're seeing, as a team, we're seeing a lot of pitches, but maybe that's not the way of the game offensively anymore. You know, is increase the pitch count, see a lot of pitches. Well, guys are getting ahead with that strike on that very first pitch, putting the hitter in the hole. The Red Sox today have been awfully patient. You know, sometimes that first pitch fastball is the best one you're going to get to hit. Chili Dog, Chili Davis there. Excellent hitting coach.
Right center. Martin makes the play. Seventh inning stretch time in Arlington.
and a diving attempt, and what a way for Adrian Beltre to begin his big league career. A 19-year-old who walks up and doubles to drive in a run.
The great Vin Scully back in June of 1998. What were you doing that day?
I was hitting fourth at that ball game. You see some of the guys, Gary Sheffield, Paul Konerko, Raul Mondesi, Adrian Beltre. You know, when he first came up, what was just evident as heck right from the get-go, the hands, the ability to field. I mean, he was doing things at third base that I hadn't seen accomplished big leaguers do. Coming in on the ball, barehanding it. I mean, I never realized how great he would be. I mean, I could never say, oh yeah, this guy's going to hit, you know, close to you know, offensively have the production, be a Hall of Famer. That I would have never thought that. He was so young, but I think the most impressive thing is his ability and his maturity as a player and as a leader in the clubhouse. That guy is respected by any and everyone.
So you were hitting fourth for the Dodgers that day. Prince Fielder's dad was in the cleanup spot for the Angels.
Yeah, I saw that. Time flies.
Here we are 17 years later. Josh Hamilton leads off for the Rangers, bottom of the 7th inning against Robbie Ross Jr., who came on in relief of Red Sox starter Wade Miley in the 5th. Hamilton has walked his last 2 times up. Rangers lead the Red Sox 6-0. Boston won the series opener on Thursday 5-1. Rangers came back last night 7-4. Hamilton down on strikes. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Jurassic World. The park is open June 12th. See it in theaters, Real D and IMAX 3D. What a night for Adam Rosales. 3 for 3. 4 for 4. Our game summary brought to you by Budweiser. Miley had won his last 3 starts. Allowed more earned runs tonight than of those 3 starts combined. Rangers have scored 6. And how about Chichi Gonzalez in his major league debut? Did not allow a hit over the first 5 innings.
Yeah, absolutely terrific. And again, we were told he's got a number of different pitches. He's got great poise. He's going to battle. Good movement. You know, all those things, though, are done at the minor league level. And he made this look like just another successful minor league start, except he's doing it on the big stage against the Boston Red Sox. Great effort.
Martin drove in a run his last time up. Before Adam Rosales, runner on first, he ties his career high with a 4-hit game tonight. Did it back in 2010 against Tampa Bay. Martin down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Rolls to the wall. Around third, Rosales. He will score. Rangers now lead 7-0. Martin moves to third.
Martin takes that outside fastball, shoots it down the left field line, rattles around out there. Hanley finally hunts it down. Let's throw to Holt, and again, Holt really been tested tonight with the arm. Just hasn't been on the favorable end.
Second error committed by Holt tonight. Third committed by the Red Sox.
Getting back to the comment where the Rangers, nobody's really given them any love. Nobody expects anything from them. And Jeff Bannister telling us, well, then fine. You know what? That's great. We're going to use that to fuel this ball club. It's not going to be a one-man show. It's going to be a collective effort. You know, I think we've seen that today. Just the contributions from all of the different hitters. And then, of course, the youngster on the mound. It is. It's a team effort.
Well, speaking of team, next Saturday, our coverage of the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup begins as China takes on the host country, Canada. And then next Monday, don't miss Team USA's first game as they battle Australia on Fox Sports 1. Games all weekend long on Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and it's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Up the middle, off the bat of Alberto for a base hit into center field. Coming home to score is Martin. It is now 8-0 Texas.
Well, one of those nights for the Red Sox and John Farrell. Ball shooting it up the middle. You know, and these are the things that when you're the Red Sox right now, you know, obviously you're going to tell yourself it's a long season. We're just going through a rut right now. Things are going to turn. Hey, we're only 3 back in the loss column. All those sorts of things. And that is very real. And as a player, you have to trick yourself so you can go out and play it each and every single day. You just can't ride that roller coaster. You'd be in the nut house if you do. And that is a reality. They're 3 games back in the loss column going into the night. Lino DeShields doing a great job at the top of this lineup. Remember, he was a Rule 5 guy from the Houston Astros. Plucked him off the roster.
First round pick of the Astros back in 2010.
You know, this Ranger club really has taken on the personality of Jeff Bannister. You know, just grind, grind, grind. I mean, he referred to himself as a minor league grunt.
And a mutt.
And a mutt.
DeShields strikes out. But the Rangers score 2 runs on 3 hits in the inning. Now lead 8-0. lead the Red Sox 8-0. We mentioned earlier 29 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as a player, coach at the minor league level, major league level. Sam Freeman out to pitch for Texas here in the 8th. He will face David Ortiz, who broke up the Chichi Gonzalez no-hitter back in the 6th inning. Nothing Rangers, top of the 8th inning. Third of a 4-game weekend series here in Arlington on baseball night in America. Ortiz with his 2nd hit of the game. So he has 2 of the 4 Red Sox hits today. That's 1 more hit than Jeff Bannister had in his major league career. His 1 hit came in his only at bat back in July of 1991 for the Pirates against the Braves. Pinch hitting for Doug Drabek, a single off Dan Petrie at Three Rivers Stadium. A base hit in his only career plate appearance in the major leagues.
Batting average of 1,000. Can tell everybody nobody ever got me out in the big leagues.
3 months later, those same teams would go on to meet in the National League Championship Series, won by the Braves in 7 games. But Bannister, what a story. You go back to his high school days, he developed bone cancer, which almost necessitated the amputation of his leg. Then in college, involved in a collision at home plate, he was paralyzed for 10 days. Talk about adversity.
Well, you talk about adversity, you talk about perseverance, and speaking with him in the meeting, I mean, just he is so appreciative of the opportunity he has right now.
Catcher, first baseman, for the most part of the minor leagues, minor league manager of the Pirates organization. He was with the big club for 4 years, then the next 8, the minor league field coordinator, bench coach, and he speaks glowingly of Clint Hurdle, the Pirates skipper. Learned a lot from Chuck Tanner, Jim Leland, Rocky Bridges, and he also mentioned Tony La Russa. He says, I studied everything he did from the opposing dugout as Sandoval flies out to Hamilton to end the inning. A 7-pitch 8th for Sam Freeman. 8-0 Texas. and by Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. Our Game Changer profile brought to you by T-Mobile, the official sponsor of Game Changers. Chichi Gonzalez, a no-hitter over the first 5 innings in his Major League debut. David Ortiz with a double on his 93rd pitch. He threw 102, did not allow a run.
Really excellent tonight, and a lot of great pitches as far as keeping the Red Sox hitters off balance. Not very many good swings, a lot of bad swings, and that tells you that the Red Sox hitters weren't picking up those pitches. They tried to.
Elvis Andrus on the first pitch from Matt Barnes flies out to center. And for more on Chichi Gonzalez, downstairs to JP Morosi. JP.
Well, Kenny, a crowd of better than 42,000 fans here at Globe Life Ballpark tonight, and I found the happiest 30 of them, that being Chichi Gonzalez's friends and family, many of whom had come from South Florida to see his Major League debut. I spoke with his parents, Carlos and Nancy, and when I asked his father how many times during the game he got choked up and was moved to tears, he said just once, when he saw his son take the mound in a Major League ballpark for the very first time.
Yeah, it's really got to be something. I know that, as a father, you obviously you wish the best for your kids. You want them to realize their dreams. And to watch your son go out and take the field, can't imagine.
Base hit for Prince Fielder. 1 out single here in the bottom of the 8th. What's going on in St. Louis to Kevin Burkhardt?
I'll let you get back to your meal there, Kev. You talk about a parent or, Chi-Chi's father. I mean, what a moment that has to be for the family. Come watch your son pitch in the big leagues, and then on top of that, go out and have the outing that he did tonight.
What do you remember from your big league debut?
My big league debut was as a pinch runner. Pinch ran for Mike Sharperson, and I remember coming off the steps, Tommy Lasorda, the Hall of Fame manager, put me in and jogging out to first base. And that's something I remember like it was yesterday. Crazy way to enter the game, but my first start was not anything like Chi-Chi's. It was a resounding 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Take that.
Did you have family on hand?
I did. My family was there. My parents from San Diego would make their way up to LA.
Center field off the bat of Beltre. 2 out.
That's the thing. Sometimes we get caught up in the economics of the game, the money, all that. But remember, all of these guys are fans first, and they're baseball fans, and they have this dream, and it's. There are more stories like the Jeff Bannister story where you're toiling in the minor leagues, you're chasing this dream, except more often than not, it doesn't end up in the big leagues. And to finally get that opportunity, to finally make it, whether you're Jeff Bannister or you're a heralded rookie like Chichi Gonzalez, once you get here, it's like, wow.
Jeff Bannister's dad was a very successful high school football coach here in Texas. Jeff played for him. He said, at first I didn't know whether to call him coach or dad.
Yeah.
He said he was coach on the field, dad after practice.
Well, that sounds good, but it's always tough to play for your father, to separate that coach and dad, because again, you're wearing 2 hats.
The 0-2 to Hamilton. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Alex Claudio in the Rangers pen. Texas looking to make it 9 wins in their last 11. And even their record at 500 as Hamilton strikes out. We move to the 9th on Baseball Night in America from Arlington. How about Elvis Andrus and Prince Fielder having some fun earlier tonight in the Rangers dugout? Follow your favorite team and players all season long with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat now. Carlos Peguero, who came on in the last half inning defensively, will lead off for the Red Sox. He played in 30 games for the Texas Rangers this season before he was designated for assignment 10 days ago, facing Alex Claudio, making his 16th appearance. And Peguero shoots it into shallow right field. Catch is made by Alberto for out number 1. Great job by our entire crew tonight here in Arlington, led by producer Brad Zager, director Matt Gaggle, associate director Gilbert Zepeda, technical producer Don Esposito, associate producer Zach Kinman, Marty Aronoff crunching the numbers along with Mark Zaguro.
Yep, good stuff tonight. The Rangers continuing to score runs in the month of May. Red Sox can't wait for this month to pass. Just offensively, just been in a real rut. And we talked earlier, this one's just got to put behind you.
And the month will come to an end tomorrow.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see what Boston does do, because as we talked about, without a real ace, they went out and really put a lot of eggs in the offense as far as spending money in that direction.
Base hit into right center off the bat of Brock Holt. 5th hit of the game for the Red Sox.
Like I said, right now, if you're the Red Sox, the best thing you can say is, that AL East is not good. Nobody's running away with it yet. But there are some things that they're going to need to do. Starting pitching is the first and foremost. That's a nice pitch. 68 miles an hour. Throws off the hitter's timing.
The 0-2 from Claudio, fouled off to the right side. Talk about starting pitching. Joe Kelly and Wandy Rodriguez tomorrow in the series finale. Leon down on strikes, 2 away. Big night offensively for the Texas Rangers. They score 8 runs on 13 hits, and there's one of the beneficiaries, Chichi Gonzalez, the 23-year-old native of South Florida, who did not allow a hit over the first 5 innings. David Ortiz with a double leading off the 6th acknowledged Gonzalez with a couple of claps, and then he pointed out him on the mound after he allowed his first hit of the major leagues. He went 5 2/3 through 102 pitches. There's a smile from Chichi.
Yeah, and that's about the most emotion that he showed all night. And that's what for me was most impressive. I mean, besides keeping the Red Sox hitters off balance, he showed poise, wasn't too excited, able to maintain the adrenaline. Again, for your first start, to come out and throw the way he did against a veteran lineup, especially the middle part of this lineup, it says a lot about him.
runs tonight. Andrews fires across. Rangers over the Red Sox, 8-0. First major league win for Chichi Gonzalez in his big league debut. Did not allow a hit over the first 5 innings with friends and family on hand to watch.
Couldn't ask for a better debut if you're Chichi Gonzalez. Family, friends here, comes out, answers the moment, pitches a great game, keeps the Red Sox off balance. The Rangers in the game. What a debut.
So Chichi Gonzalez and the Rangers win it by the score of 8-0, their 9th win in their last 11 games. For Eric Karros and J.P. Morosi, Kenny Albert from Arlington, Kevin Burkhardt coming up from Los Angeles after these messages.